Hello and welcome back to our channel, A Light of Source. My name is Anna Maria, and today I will be bringing in the Pleiadian High Council for our second week's episode of Getting Started. Before I begin, I do want to mention that the Light Renegades are feeling called to offer their help for anyone looking for some guidance or support with their inner work, inner healing process. If you're familiar with things such as inner child healings, balancing of masculine and feminine energies, past life regressions, processing of traumas, we do utilize tools such as these to help you on your path. If you're not familiar with these and you're not sure where to get started, even more of a reason to reach out to us and book a session. We'll be happy to intuitively feel out where you are and what might be beneficial, and then assist you from there. And with that, I will go ahead and bring in the PHC for this week's message. Hello, and welcome back for another week of Getting Started. We are the Pleiadian High Council, and we are so pleased to be here with you today. This week we will be discussing the power of sitting in meditation and sitting with self. A fairly basic topic that often is underappreciated or undervalued. If you are new to this arena and are not sure where to start, we say it is with sitting with self, even before delving into all the different types of meditations available to you online. Sitting with self quietly and just feeling what the body feels like, feeling any energies circulating in the body or around the body, listening to any thought patterns that are perhaps invasive, any thought patterns that are repetitive. What is it that you'd say to yourself when no one else is listening? Sitting with self can also open you up to a place where you are receptive to messages that are coming in from your teams, from guides, angels, galactic families that are so excited to communicate with you. To some, this comes easier than others, but the more you sit with self, the more you open yourself up, the more you clear your energies, the more receptive you are. And then, of course, there are meditations, a plethora of meditations on YouTube. Everything from chakra clearing to activations, light language, DNA repair, connecting with guides, connecting with families. And these have their place and are useful as well. But we would ask you to, perhaps for the next week, allow yourself an even balance of sitting quietly with self and sitting quietly in meditation. What these two practices have in common is that they both facilitate healing in the body. They both facilitate clearing of the mind. And they both act as bridges from your world to ours. Both opening you up to our energies, the way we communicate with you, especially at first, could be visions, words, songs, emotions. But to start, you may wish to simply sit in silence. Feel into your body. Listen to your mind. Understand what goes on in your inner workings. If you are angry, if you are upset, perhaps sitting with self would be helpful for you. Sitting with that emotion, observing it, understanding it, perhaps tracing it back to where it first originated, outside of that moment's trigger. May have been an early life trauma, a past life trauma. It is through the observation, identification of these feelings, of these emotions, of these thoughts that we can then start to release. It may take several sessions of release. It may happen in one felt swoop, depending on how far back this goes and how big a part it's played in our lives thus far. But it is through sitting with self. It is through guided meditations made specifically for processing of feelings and emotions, traumas and the like, that one can clear these energies. We'll leave you here for this week, asking you to carve out 10 minutes or so every day to sit with self and or to meditate. Let your intuition guide you. If you feel densities in the body and would like to spend that time sitting with the body, feeling into the body, placing your hands anywhere that feels like it needs extra energy and simply visualizing energy going to those areas, breaking up that density and then flushing it out of the system, then do so. If you know that this week's been a particularly turbulent week mentally, then perhaps you want to sit with self and listen to what is being said behind closed doors instead of indulging in the distractions of day-to-day life. Sit with self. It may be uncomfortable. It will be uncomfortable at first, but it does get easier, like with anything else. And if you're at a point where you are open and willing to connect with us, to connect with your teams, then use those minutes to sit quietly, clear the mind, and ask. Ask your teams for upgrades. Ask your teams for messages. They'll be so happy to connect with you in that way. Thank you for joining us again. We hope this has been helpful, and we will see you next week. Hey, a lot of information was coming through. I hope that was transmitted clearly. Yeah. So I guess I've been in a world where I meditated. I've been meditating since I was quite young, And it's only in the last few years that I've been doing so with a lot more conviction and dedication. And then I guess I started sitting with self. It started about 3 years ago when I was called to sit in a closet in complete darkness, in complete silence. And that's where I started feeling things and seeing things. And yeah, I started seeing energy in the closet. I started getting little visions. And for me, it was like things of past lives in Egypt. So not something that, typically I would have, I don't know, my mind would never have gone there, So, and that was the first indicator, like, oh my God, I'm seeing something, like I'm seeing something. And I would, after like 2 hours of sitting in the closet, I would get to my laptop and then I would try and type up whatever I could remember. And it's funny because revisiting these notes to self, these messages, I can now see the bigger picture. So I would definitely recommend, if you see things or hear things or feel things, to write them down. Yeah, it's always a beneficial practice to keep notes. But yeah, so sitting with self, not something I'd really known about until I guess they pushed me into a closet. So I don't know what this will look like for you. I'm hoping it's something exciting at the start, but if not, I would suggest just keep at it. And really what their message was saying is there's so many different ways you can use sitting for your own healing. You can heal your body. You can feel into the body. You can feel into the chakra centers. You can feel organs that are uncomfortable and just send light. Yeah, you could use it to calm the mind or listen to the mind, or I guess identify pain points. Like if you've been looping, and I'm no stranger to looping. So, if the mind has been going on about something for the whole day or for the last hour and you don't know what to do with it, sit with it. Don't turn on the TV. Don't put on the music. Don't divert your attention. Focus your attention on it, but in a constructive way. So identify what's going on and see if you can slow it down. I guess when I'm going through that, so first off, I actually try and slow down the thoughts and then deconstruct it. So identifying where it's coming from. Is this a thought that was triggered by something of lower density? Did I have a past life trauma or an early life trauma that made me more sensitive to specific comments? And maybe I've been triggered into this line of thinking. If it doesn't feel good, in my experience, if it doesn't feel good, it's not coming from self. So these are our parents' words, these are society's words, these aren't ours. And sometimes they can sound like they are, but if it doesn't feel good in the body or the mind, they're not ours to hold. And they can be released, they should be released. Yeah, sorry, I think there are many of us that struggle with this. I still do. But I find sitting with self helps a lot. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I think I'm rambling, so I'm going to end here for this week. If you have any questions, if there's something that I was going to get to that I didn't get to, send me an email. And yeah, I look forward to connecting with you all again next week. All right. Bye-bye.